Hello! Welcome back to another Tech Ambrosia Saturday stream. Hope everybody's had a good week. Hope it's been a productive and or fun one. And I hope so far your weekend's going well. Welcome to June. I can't believe it's June already. Also, happy Pride. Geez, this year has gone by fast. Holy cow. Holy cow. So, let's say hi to chat real quick. What do we got? Barroso24 says, hello, welcome to the stream. Ozelot says, my dumb little brain thought this would have been about synthesizers despite never having heard of a DX8. To which I responded, there's an alternate universe where back in high school, I wouldn't have missed my band audition, and I would actually go into music as my major in college, and that version of me would definitely do an 80s synthesizer stream. Absolutely. Unfortunately, I did sleep through it. And I ended up playing clarinet and basically flunking out by the end of high school. So, bummer. Trina's Technobabbles here. Hello, Trina. David Starbuck. Hello, Ola. Charlotte Thorne's here. Hello. Good evening. And Dave from Dave's Vintage Apple Tech is here. So, this stream, I kind of threw it together at the last minute. Honestly, because I wanted to use this card for my fast DX7 card because this is such a cool card. Look at this thing. This is one of the old original EVGA banana coolers. How cool is that? It just looks great. Unfortunately, this card doesn't work. Or maybe it doesn't like my AGP test bench. I'm not sure. I still have to do a little more testing on it. It looks like it's in perfect shape, in perfect condition. I do know when I got it, and you can see there's no fastener there holding the cooler on, because when I got it, it had rattled around in the box that it was shipped in enough that it popped the cooler off of its plastic pegs. So this is reaffixed. This is reaffixed with heatsink paste. But she still doesn't work, and I don't know why, and unfortunately, this is the one I wanted to use today. But I don't have one GeForce 4MX. Oh my gosh. Ron, from Ron's Computer Video, has chopped in and given a super chat. Ron has sent me $10 to remind everyone watching to please subscribe if you haven't already. And I really appreciate it, Ron. Thank you so much. Ron, also, go check out Ron's channel, because Ron's a super nice guy, and Ron does lots of cool retro computer stuff. I have a Ron sticker? Look at this, I have a Ron sticker right here. See? This guy. He's so good. Go watch his channel, too. So we're looking at, we tested this recently on a stream. This is the Matrox G550. This was Matrox's last card before the Parhelia. The great blunder that was the Parhelia. I would love to own a Parhelia one of these days. It's one of those cards I don't think I'll ever probably get my hands on. But I do have a G550, and this one actually works. I have a dead one over on my dead video card shelf. This one does function. We tested it not too long ago. And it's a real G550. It's also real weird. That's a daughter board for the VGA out. Yeah, it's just like plugged into a pin header on the card. Slightly loose. It's very strange. These are 2 pixel pipelines, total of 2 texture mapping units. I forget what clock speed they run at. They're not super fast, but they do have obviously 2 pixel shaders, being DirectX 8, and they have a vertex shader unit. How well that works? I guess we'll find out. I guess we'll find out. And then this is a very crusty and icky looking GeForce 4 MX440 AGP8X version. This is, what is this thing? 64 megs of RAM, it's 128-bit memory bus. It's also rather crusty. I don't know what this got into, but it's a lot of the onboard components don't look super happy on it. I don't recall it looking that bad the last time I looked at this thing. But it does work. I have tested it. It is still stable, but I'm going to need to get this thing cleaned up and probably recapped post haste. Now, the GeForce 4 MX isn't a GeForce 4, as we probably all know. If you don't, the GeForce 4 MX is not a real GeForce 4. GeForce 4 was a quad pipe DirectX 8 graphics card, actually kind of related to the GPU and the chipset of the original Xbox. 2 vertex shaders, 4 pixel shaders, I think 4 pixel shaders, and I believe 2 texture mapping units per pixel pipeline. I'm going off of memory here, I don't remember exactly. This is not that at all. This is derived from the NV10 family. This is NV17, a revision of a revision of a revision of NV10, which was the original GeForce. And it's based on the GeForce 2 GTS architecture. If you remember that card, that was a high-end card. It was also quad pipeline, 2 texture mapping units per pipe. The MX cards got that cut down to 2 pixel pipelines, still 2 texture mapping units per pipe. So this is 4 texture mapping units with its 2 pipelines. And the thing about the 4 MXs, especially the 440 and the 460, is the clock speeds are pretty good. So these are pretty quick DirectX 7 cards, despite only having 2 pixel pipelines. Because they also benefit, especially the 4 MXs, benefit from some of the improvements that NVIDIA made to the GeForce 4 architecture. Like you get the light speed memory thing and the Z compression, stuff like that, are active on these. So they make better use of the bandwidth they have. Like that was the big issue with the original GeForce, the 256 SDR and DDR, and even the GeForce 2. They were kind of bandwidth starved for what they were trying to do. And the GeForce 4 ended up fixing a lot of that. As far as the GeForce 2 GTS, why don't I have one? I have a GeForce 3. It's a TI 200, but it's still GeForce 3. It's basically a GeForce 2 with a pixel shader screwed onto the end. Pixel shaders and a vertex shader screwed onto the end. In DX7, GeForce 3 is basically the same performance as a GeForce 2. So, all of that said, this is a lot of words. We've got 2 cards that are 2 pixel pipelines each. The clock speeds are actually not that similar. I realized this morning as I was testing these things to make sure they were still functional. Because you know how that goes. You know how that goes with vintage hardware. I probably should have used my GeForce 2 MX instead of a 4 MX for a little bit more fair comparison. But honestly, we'll be lucky if we get stuff to even run on this. I'll be honest. It turns out Matrox stopped releasing drivers for this thing, for the G550, for Windows 98 in 2002. So like, Unreal Tournament 2003 doesn't run correctly on this, despite it running perfectly fine on this. It doesn't make any sense. So, we are using, let me hop over to the desk so y'all can see what we're doing. We are running the AGP test bench. You all know this thing. This is it's an Athlon XP Thoroughbred running at 2.133 gigahertz. We've got an Elite Group board. Let's see, I need to move that way. There we go. Elite Group board. This is the K7S5A. It runs the SIS 735, their SIS 735 chipset. It's one of those weird bridge boards that has SD RAM and original DDR support. You can't run both at the same time, but you can run either or, and I have tested it. It does run better with DDR, so that's what it's running. And I fixed the bus speed issue from the last time y'all saw it. We're running 133 megahertz frontside bus and 133 megahertz RAM, so it's effectively DDR266. I think this is a stick of DDR400, so it's fine. It doesn't care. Video, we're just gonna boot it up here with the Matrox G100 because this is the system I'm using to test that for the upcoming Matrox G100 video. And we've got sound coming from a Sound Blaster Audigy. I think this is an Audigy 2. And then way back here is a little Intel network adapter card that I use to get files onto this thing a little more quickly than trying to get the SD card out of it, because it is running an SD to IDE up here. right behind the Free Geek sticker. Don't forget about Free Geek Twin Cities, because they're awesome. So, let's boot this thing up and see where we stand. Take a look at the things that we are going to run on it today, and then we'll, you know what? Y'all have seen the G100 before. I don't want to run through it again. Let's start with the GeForce. We'll start with the thing that we know will probably work, even though it's DX7. We're going to run a bunch of DX8 games on it for a long time, because DX8 hardware, like actual DX8 hardware, was so expensive. These GeForce 4 MXs were really popular. Like, popular enough that pretty much every game developer would put DX7 and DX6 compatible code paths in their rendering engines. Half-Life 2 did it. There's a DX6 and DX7 code path in it. DX8, of course, it's DX9 native game. But yeah, there's a DX7 code path in Half-Life 2 for these cards. Unreal Tournament 2003 and 2004 have DX7 code paths for these things. A whole bunch of other games. So let's boot this thing up and take a look at some of those. And yeah, it's going to be mostly playing games today, I think. I got a lot of crap from folks last time for just running benchmarks on these cards, so we'll play some games. You have to understand the benchmarks. The benchmarks are what I do. I do the benchmarks. Let's flip over to, there we go, we've got signal. Let me flip over to the VGA capture. There we go. Ta-da! Trying to find information on this card is like pulling teeth. It's so difficult to find anything on this thing. But guess what? It's June, which means when I release it, it's going to be a GPU June video. Y'all excited for GPU June? I'm excited for GPU June. David Starbuck is here and says, along with smashing the like button, like that smash button too. Baroza24 says the G400 Max was faster than the G550, if I remember correctly. You do remember correctly. The G550 is kind of a dog. It's not great. It's not great. Jeremy Johnson says, give the video card a memory upgrade. Wish I could. If you know where I can get some of this weird SG RAM, I'm all for it. Send it over to DOS, dude. Skilla says, hi all, I recall having good luck with overclocking my GeForce 4 MX440 back in the day. Yeah, they were pretty capable. They were pretty capable. They were good enough at overclocking that NVIDIA sold a 460 version, which wasn't super common. It was basically just more clocks. More clocks, more speed. So, let's see, what should we run first here? We've got... What is my driver version? 6176. Mostly that's in an effort to fix some bugs with some things on here. There's something up with this install of Win98. I don't know what it is, but it's super not happy. Like, I can run a couple of runs of like UT2K3 benchmark, and then it'll say you can't do hardware acceleration anymore until I reboot. Great, thanks. It happens not just with this card, but with other cards too. It's really annoying. Alrighty, so GeForce 4 MX 440. Pretty quick card, honestly. I know everybody hates expendable, but just to get a look at like its raw throughput, let's run this in 800 by 600 32-bit color. We'll just run it for a quick second and see what we get for speed. Hopefully that's not too loud. It's not a slow card. It's not a slow card. Right, 800 by 600, 32-bit, and we're getting average 100 FPS. It's not bad. It's not bad. There's a reason the 4MX is considered, you know, one of the fastest DX7 cards out there. We're kind of bumping up against the speed limit of this platform. I think I can only get about 130-ish FPS out of this thing. Peak. So it's doing well. It's doing well. By rights, I should be using my fast AGP test bench for this, but I gave it a try this morning and it didn't want to boot. So I gotta figure out what's going wrong with it. But anyway, yeah, over 100 FPS on the 4MX. Not bad. Not bad. It's got some legs. She can run. Let's see. Do I want to run the benchmark? No, I keep getting yelled at for running benchmarks. So let's play a little bit of UT. I don't have fraps installed is the problem. But make sure everything actually fits on my desk. Let's throw fraps on here real quick. Uh-oh. Wait, hitting the X doesn't stop the benchmark cycle? Really? Seems like a bad idea. Yeah, no, it's definitely gonna... Yeah, nope, it's running the benchmark. Great programming, Epic. That's wonderful. Well done. Apparently, when you double-click the UT2K3 benchmark, you are committed at that point. Yeah, there you go. Compatibility Madness has joined us. Says the 460 has enough clock to complete with the GeForce 2 Ultra. Yeah, that's pretty fast. That is pretty fast. Charlotte says bonus points if we can somehow get an NVIDIA card to use Stipple Alpha for the channel aesthetic. Oh my gosh. I'm gonna have to include just a ton of game footage with the G100 video, just to really cement that as the channel aesthetic. Get that Sega Saturn looking graphics. Ian Scott has joined. Hello, welcome to the stream. Ian says, as a previous owner of both a G550 and a GeForce 4 MX, the stream is pertinent to my interests. Alright, well hopefully it's going to be useful information for you. Alright, so let's get some fraps going in here. Did it? I put it in my favorites. If it's your first time seeing this machine, we had to do a reinstall of Windows on it, and then I installed the Auto-G drivers, and I let the Auto-G drivers install everything, which was a mistake. I mean, who wouldn't want some free AOL? It littered this thing all over this machine. I think this is the third free AOL link that I've deleted from this thing from the Auto-G drivers. Unbelievable. Overlay corner, all set up, good. Okay, let's play some Unreal. Tournament 2003. There's qualifiers on that. All right, let's do, yep, DM Andalus, play. Oh boy, that is awful. Okay. That's better. Let's do this. What are our settings even? I haven't even checked. I'm such a bad benchmarker. Oh. So bad at this. The mouse is super floaty. It does not help this. Got like a 3-frame delay from the capture card and the mouse is super floaty. This is terrible. This is why I always run the benchmarks. I don't play a game. Yeah, I'm already making excuses. I don't want to hear about it. I know there's a little area over here. Oh, where is it? It's got some water in it. That, if it detects you've got on DX8 card, hey. It'll do it in DX8? Tell me I have the... Really? No? Where's my beloved... Ah. I don't even remember the name of the gun. That one. Flak cannon. Give me the flak cannon. Yes! My beloved flak cannon. So if we go back under here, there's an area. Whoop. Oh, it auto-switched me back to this. No! Black cannon. I don't run out of ammo. I ran out of ammo, darn it. Alright. Run over, not here. So inconvenient for benchmarking. Yeah, this area right here. With the bio rifle? They put the bio rifle in this little pond. Like, who even cares about the bio rifle? But if you've got a DX8 card, it'll replace this warbly cube map that's on here with an actual pixel shader. Like, you get an actual pixel shader. Congratulations. And I know from doing a little bit of testing that doesn't work with the G550, mostly because Matrox's drivers for Windows 98 stopped being updated after 2002. 2002! It could also be that the card is just bad and doesn't support enough DX8 for it to work. It's always a possibility. I know it's not an 8.1 card, it's just a DX8 card. But I'll show you what it looks like once we get the G550 installed. So yeah, we've got like, you know, 50 some FPS looking out over the middle of the playfield. All the way up to 80 when you're looking at a wall. What are our video settings? 640 by 480, 16-bit. Medium, low details-ish, kinda. We've got a lot of features turned on, but like low texture detail. I think this must have been from when I was trying to run this on my Banshee. I'll put this to normal. Yeah, oh, there we go. Basically the same performance, but it looks a lot better. How nice. That's why I love the flak cannon. That's why I love the flak cannon. Alright, let's play something else. Okay. Something else. See if it'll actually run or if it'll say I have no hardware acceleration anymore. Hey, hardware transform lighting. Okay, so let's go ahead and run it. Huh? Huh? Okay, quick race. Or what are our settings? Oh right, we set them at the start of the game. Let's go. Quick race. Sure, Construction Junction. I think I've played that map before. I have no idea what the controls are. Looks like it's arrow keys. Fantastic. 1, 2, 3, 4, set my camera? No. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That's not the right way. I don't think that arrow knows where I'm supposed to go. I mean, maybe the checkpoint is here. Are there really that few checkpoints on this map that I can just cheese that? No way. No, yep, nope. Alright, what is the... Oh, here we go. Change the view that way. Pretty sure this is not the way you're supposed to race this game, but you know what? Do whatever I want. Angry has finished in first place. Okay. Uh-oh. Well, there we go. Oh, come on. Alright, well, that's awful. Run's okay, though. Sure. We'll race the Dodge Blob. That'll be great. It would be nice to see the frequencies of the cards tested. Unfortunately, cards of this vintage are really difficult to like get a consistent idea of operating frequency from. Who put that cement there? I do have Riva Tuner installed, and in theory, it should be able to tell me the frequencies on at least the GeForce. As far as the Matrox though, I don't know. Will PowerDesk tell you the frequencies that it runs at stock, or it'll just let you set new ones? Uh-oh. Whoop. I haven't even been paying attention to the frame rate. It's pretty good. Yeah, it seems fine. You absolutely do not need a DX8 card to play this game, because I remember playing it back in the day on my Voodoo Banshee. I was just as bad back then. I think I had the demo. I'm really good at finding those turn markers. That's a lake. That's a lake. Not too bad though. Frame rate's alright. I just suck at the game. Ah, amazing. Let's see what we got for... Let's see if, yes, exit, thank you. Maybe, if we're lucky, Riva Tuner will tell us what this is running at. Oh. It's a bit too tall for the monitor resolution. Settings. Oh, I totally corrupted all the graphics too. Great. Love it. Wonderful. Okay, what is the... Well, it says 275, 220. 275 for the core and 220 for the memory. I don't know if that's correct or accurate. I have no idea. The MX460, I think, went to 300? Oh, the Everest shows frequency. I tried looking for the frequencies in Everest earlier, and I could not find them. But I will take another look. Switch this back to 800 by 600 so y'all can see this. It's actually visible. It's gnat season here. I love it. Alright, where the heck do I find the frequencies on this? Because if I go into, like, devices, physical devices, that just shows me, like, bus addresses. That doesn't show me the clock frequencies. Display. Okay. GPU. Oh, there you go. 274. Doesn't say what the memory clock speed. There it is. Real clock 110. Okay, yeah. So 220 effective. Supposedly a bandwidth of 3.5 gigabytes per second? Sure. Alright. Does that work out? If we have a gigatexel per second, each texel is 32 bits. I don't know if that works out, but supposedly. There you go. It's going to completely lay waste to the G550. 275 megahertz core clock, even with just 2 pipelines, totally destroy. .220 compatibility Matt says 220 sounds slow. I don't know. Two by 275 is 550 megapixels. Well, yeah. If you double the core clock with 2 pixel pipelines, yeah, that would be megapixels. I was saying texels, because texels is how you read out of the memory. But DDR memory is rated for 266 minimum. It doesn't have to be. Could be cheap DDR. You never know. I don't know. Don't know what to tell you. Anyway, yes, this runs pretty nicely. So let's make things painful. Let's make things painful on us. And switch over to the Matrox. It's big oof time. Big oof time. Since it's got the VGA on a daughter card, you're gonna plug the VGA in upside down. It's such a weird card. Such a weird card. There we go. Apparently the MX440 performs similarly to an MX420, which, yeah. The only difference is we're clock speeds, so if the VBIOS doesn't set the right clock speeds, you don't get the right performance. Ah, you're so true. You are so correct. Ian Scott says, I'd consider that orientation right side up because it's how it would be on an ISA card. You're very right. You're very right. When PCI cards were first becoming a thing, my brain constantly rebelled on having to plug the VGA connector in upside down. Constantly. Now it's the normal orientation for me. Alright, so we've got the Millennium G550. We're going to do the same thing, 800 by 600 32-bit color to get an idea of its raw pipeline performance, because this is a DX6 benchmark. I called it a game last time and folks made fun of me because nobody ever played this thing, which, you know, fair. Nobody did play this game, I don't think. It's mostly just a benchmark for the longest time. Not quite half the speed, but you know, like 60% of the speed of the GeForce 4. So we would expect our clocks to be about 60% of the clock speed of the 4MX. I'll let it run through the same amount of area. Oh, yeah, OBS just told me I dropped a bunch of frames. Sorry about that. My internet's terrible. It's Comcastic. Here we go. So 65 FPS instead of 100. About 110. So yeah, we're like 60% of the speed. We'll take a look at Everest. We got some folks in here who want to see Everest. This is why I don't put a lot of faith on what Everest says about anything, because it's definitely not running at 65 megahertz. That's why I don't use it. Let's see if Riva Tuner can read this thing. Nope. Can't read it. I had PowerDesk on here for a while. Where did my Matrox drivers go? Where did my Matrox drivers go? Should get me PowerDesk. Nathan has joined. Hello. Welcome. Welcome to the stream. As usual, I'm arguing with Compatibility Madness over why I don't believe Everest when it tells me that a card's running at 65 megahertz when I know it's not. But, you know, other than that, it's been a great stream so far. Oh yeah, no, I'm not arguing with that. The numbers seemed right for the 440. But I don't know about you, but I don't care about the MX440. I want to know what this Matrox is doing, because it's weirder. I'm all about weird video cards. Nope. Don't show again. Oh, jeez. Gotta turn on dual head and then it'll... I have got the wrong version of Power Strip to show clock speeds, unfortunately. Mine doesn't seem to show them at all. That's very fast. 600 cores is double the speed that I think the 460 is supposed to run at. It's very fast. Oh, this thing takes forever to boot. So the problem with so Compatibility Madness is say, well, just read the chips, read the RAM chips. You can't see the RAM chips over the heatsink. At some point, I'll probably remove the heatsink to repaste it, but not on stream because these little pins are gonna freaking break as soon as I do it. I'm sure of it. So, it's alright. Compatibility Madness knows everything and always has a solution. And it always works, no matter what reality says. Alright, we've got Power Desk installed, so hopefully... Yeah, thanks. I know what 2 monitors means. Matrox, thanks. Hopefully, it's going to tell us what the clock speed of this thing is. Tells us the stupid RAM DAC speed, like who cares? Nope. Let's see if Riva Tuner likes this driver version. Nope, still doesn't like this driver version. Let's see if Everest sees anything different. Still says it's 66 megahertz, which is super not right. Oh, and DX hardware support at level 6. Whoops. We should at least have DX8 interfaces in here. DX7, good. Well, that makes more sense. Chris Dugatis is 300 for core and 300 DTR for memory. That makes much more sense. Got DX8, good. This just tests the entry points, the interfaces on the drivers. It doesn't actually test any hardware. But our drivers are good now. All the way up to DX9, which is good. I think it may have tried... Yes. It may have installed some other driver for this previously. Let's see what UT2K3 looks like. It should be running at double the speed that Everest is reporting, I believe. The G550 is supposed to run at like 125-ish. Yeah, it's supposed to be 125 megahertz on the GPU and 166 on the DDR memory. Which would coincide with about 60% of the performance of the T440, no, the MX440. Do this again. Go see if we can see if it's going to render us some water or if it's just going to be a gray blob. Oh, it's just a gray blob. So that's the unfortunate part. Oh, these drivers are awful. I tried this morning to get the fast HTTP test bench up and running on Windows XP. I just was not having it. I've got to go back and like figure out why it won't boot Windows XP. Oh, and I forgot to start Fraps. Darn it. Not used to Fraps not starting with Windows. Frame rate's painful though, that's for sure. Oh boy, it's painful. Supposedly DirectX 8, and not looking great. Not looking great. Give me Fraps. Let's do that again. Nigel Rhodes says, I have a friend whose GeForce 256 is showing as a network card with its device ID. I'm assuming the ROM is corrupt. Any thoughts? Yeah, definitely. Try flashing the BIOS on there, and hopefully the EEPROM is not, like, toasted. Oh, I've got too many textures. That's why this is running so slowly. Settings. This is only a 16 megabyte card. Lowest texture detail. That's better. Oh, blast it. I need a gun. I need a gun, I need a gun. This is not the way to get a gun. It's not a fun time. Frame rate's not great. It's real unstable. 20 FPS. 20 FPS. G550. See, like, part of me wants to get a Parhelia just to have a Parhelia. The other part of me is like, it's just gonna be another awful Matrox card. All of the character and interest in Matrox's video cards went out the window for me after the G100. It's such a weird card. It's so quirky. I love it. Everything else is just kind of like... eh. It's a Riva TNT competitor. I am curious to run this in XP. So here's the thing, right? So the drivers for this, for Windows 98, weren't updated past like 2002, but on, oh hello, you are spicy. But the drivers for NT for like XP, Server 2003, even Vista, were updated all the way through 2013. 2013! It's gotta run better on Windows XP. It's gotta run better with the newer drivers. Like, it has to. It just has to. Although maybe the DX8 hardware was never actually enabled in any of the drivers. I don't actually know. That would be honestly not that unusual for a company whose straits were as dire as Matrox's were in the late 90s, early 2000s. Let's try 3D. Q3 time demo would be a good benchmark for these cards. Yeah, not too bad. We've got a retail version, Quake 3 Gold here. So we run DM4. Actually, I'm gonna turn off Fraps for that because Fraps sucks out a little bit of performance. And we've already got a benchmark in here. It's no reason to have two of them. Unless it crashes. Ah, Windows 98 never change. That's interesting. There's no Win98 drivers for Parhelia. Huh, that's very interesting. I didn't realize they had abandoned 98 so quickly, but I guess that makes sense. They didn't have a ton of money for driver development at that point. Oh, Nigel says, I sold my TNT2 Model 64 PCI the other day. Probably should have kept it. Yes. That is a killer card for just random compatibility. It's good in DOS, and then it's also like a really decent, low resolution, but really decent, you know, DX6 card. TNT2 Model 64 is not bad, honestly. It got a lot of hate back in the day when it was released. These days, it's not so bad. Not so bad. Alright, done booting. Let's run some Quake 3. Here we go. Oh, jeez. Come on. I have to live with the mouse cursor in the center of the screen, sorry. Yeah, it really chugs when there's a lot of alpha effects on screen. $55.6, and that is at 800 by 600 32-bit. Ah, yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Nigel says I couldn't see a build where I would use the TNT2 Model 64. Need to thin the collection. I understand that. I understand that. Me, who bought a random box of video cards on eBay and needs to figure out what to do with most of them, because most of them, it turns out, work just fine. I don't need 4 Matrox Millenniums. Oh. Alright, so we got 55.6, 800 by 600 32-bit color, Quake 3, 55.6 for the G550. 3DFX Voodoo Cards is saying that this is similar performance to a Model 64, which I think I've got around here somewhere. We could compare directly. But that makes sense at that clock speed with 64-bit memory bus and 2 pixel pipelines. It'd be about the speed of a TNT2. Oof. Oof, oof, oof. I think I'm going to revisit this thing in Windows XP and see how it does. I personally stayed on Windows 98 for a long time, but I know that most of the PC gaming world back then didn't. XP was pretty darn popular. A lot of people migrated to it pretty quickly after it came out. I mean, not like quickly. It got made fun of for how hard it was to run on older hardware and for its ridiculous looking interface for a while. Until, you know, computers caught up to it in performance. But I know the enthusiasts moved over to XP pretty quickly. I ran Windows 2000 for a long time. I loved Windows 2000. That operating system was viciously murdered. It shared so much with Windows XP, and yet Microsoft did everything in their power to just drop it like the hottest of rocks. There's no reason it couldn't have like lived on just as long as Windows XP. But no. Alright, so we're back on the MX440. We'll look at the clock speeds again, because everybody wants to see these clock speeds. All I can tell you is the label on the back says MX440, 128-bit, 64 megabytes. Yeah, I don't know. Tech Power Up doesn't have correct numbers for it. Because they say it has a 32-bit memory bus and 32 megs of memory and a bandwidth of 2 gigabytes per second. But the theoretical performance of 1.1 gigatexels is correct, according to Tech Power Up. I don't know. I don't know. It always does that. You change your graphics card, it knocks the quality slider down one every single time. Alright, so com max FPS 0, time demo 1, and we'll do demo 4. See what it does. A lot is what it's gonna do, a lot. Shooting for 55.6 FPS to beat. That's not even close. 141.2. So there we go. Nearly 3 times. Nearly 3 times the performance. 141.2. Not bad at all. Not bad at all. I feel like I should get out my my GeForce 3 just to like have a real DX8 card in this stream. Let's do that. Where did I put it? It's in the other room, one sec. Ta-da! Trying to destroy everything with my freaking chair. This is the 8-bit Siluro GeForce 3 Ti200. It's the slow GeForce 3, but it's still a GeForce 3. It's not bad. Hey, way to go, Trina. Trina got the client's computer up to date and drives and video card installed. Well done. Nigel Rhodes says 2000 had so many compatibility issues in the beginning that most people never gave it a chance. The weird part is, like, it had compatibility issues if you were trying to approach it like a newer version of Windows 95, but it wasn't. You know, it was Windows NT. And if you've ever tried to get games running on Windows NT 4, you will love Windows 2000 because it's way more able to get things running. It's way more compatible. Yeah, so part of the performance disparity between the G550 and the MX440, especially in like expendable, is that this, even at 2.133 gigahertz, this machine, this whole platform, is kind of bumping up against its maximum performance. It's not a super high performance platform. You know, it's SIS 735. Which is, you know, 133 megahertz DDR, frontside bus for the processor maximum, and 133 megahertz DDR for the RAM maximum, single channel. And I mean, even the fastest K7 boards, you know, like using the Enforce 2 chipset, weren't that fast. They just weren't that fast. The platform itself suffered from some performance bottlenecks. This is very blurry. Let's make this... Can I make this 60 hertz? Pretty please? I'm pretty sure that's our problem. The VGA capture is trying to get too much. Refresh rate override. Great, doesn't list any. Wonderful. Alrighty. Let's set this, my favorite trick. Set it to Super VGA. Trying to think if we want to do benchmarking. No, I don't think we need to do any benchmarking at 1280 by 1024. Now, nope. There we go. Give me the default. Please be 60 hertz. Please be sharper. Yay! Much sharper. There we go. 85 hertz refresh rates don't really help when you're just doing VGA capture. Okay. So run Quake 3. And set up, well, I gotta change that slider to maximum every single time. Okay. So, com max FPS 0, time demo 1, demo 4. Let's go. Good old GeForce 4, or good old GeForce 3. Let's say good old 4-pipe GeForces. Yeah, it's fast. That's fast. It's pretty darn fast. 169.5 FPS. Quick Photonic Noodle asks, do you ever connect these old boxes to the internet? This is technically on the internet. It has a network connection plugged into it. If you open Internet Explorer, it will attempt to go to Google. It can go to Google. Yeah, this is plugged into the internet. It's not as dangerous as everyone makes it out to be. I'm kind of surprised this works. I don't know why Google has some compatibility stuff in here for like IE5. This is running 5, isn't it? Yeah, I don't know why they have like compatibility stuff in here for IE5, but I also run a browse service instance on my home lab for like really old systems to get to really modern websites through browse service. And that works pretty well, honestly. Like you can get some like daily driving internet work done with a browse service instance. There's a couple of issues, like if you hit backspace, it has a tendency to go, because backspace is the shortcut to go back in a web browser. So if you're like typing into a text field in browse service, and you hit backspace because you made a mistake, there's a 50% chance that you'll just navigate backwards. You'll go back to whatever other page you were looking at in browse service. But it mostly works. It mostly works. Yeah. Compatibility menace is how much is how much does this platform flatten the performance of the GeForce 3? Yeah. Yep. David Starbucks says, I built an NT4 system for a friend solely for its stability in burning CDs. It was very stable at burning CDs. I do remember. That was one of the... I was burning a lot of CDs back then when I switched to Windows 2000. I was just kind of floored at how stable it was at burning CDs. There was a time when burning CDs was difficult to do. Now you just don't do it. Who cares? Windows NT had a really good I/O subsystem, a really good I/O system, subsystem. David Starbucks says he had a T1 connection in his dorm. He had a side business burning music and PlayStation CDs. That sounds like a few people I knew back in college too. They get to the dorms and they have like real internet access, and they're like, "Wow, I can download everything." That sounds familiar. Oh. Yep, good times. Ah, wonderful. Let's see what Everest thinks the GeForce 3 is running at. I think it's running at 175 with a memory clock rate of 200 megahertz, 400 megahertz effective. I don't know if that's right. It seems a little low to me, but it is also only a TI 200, so that kind of makes sense. I wonder if this will run... Oh no, I uninstalled that, that's right. Well, let's look at... Now that we have a DX8 card, with drivers that recognize it's a DX8 card, let's turn the textures back up, because we've got lots of texture memory now. Turn up the display resolution too, because this thing can totally handle it. I want to take a look at that water. David Starbucks says, my first CD burner cost $300 in 1995. Yeah, but it burned at 1x. Took an hour to write a CD. So, do we get the pixel shader? We do. Look at that. Well, I'm about to die. So I am not fighting that person well. We'll come back to the puddle. We'll come back to the puddle, hang on. I pretty desperately need some health. There we go. Yes, my one true love, the flak cannon. There we go. This mouse sucks a lot. Ah, here we go. We're back at the puddle. How lovely. How lovely. It's not much of a pixel shader, but you know. Maybe it's just multi-texturing. I don't know. Definitely did not play nice with the G550. Oh. Blasted. Just blasted. Trying to play this through my capture card. There we go. Come on, I shot a grenade at you. Yes, you're right. It'd be better to test at a higher resolution on this platform to eliminate CPU and platform bottlenecks. You are correct. Oh, the rocket launcher. Reach out and touch someone. There's a reference that dates me. Holy cow. I guess it's not surprising that, you know, a high-end, relatively high-end quad pipe DX8 card runs this game just fine. Just fine. Not really surprising at all. That is not what we came here to check out. But I think we're not going to get a lot more good data out of the G550 until I plug it into something with Windows XP, unfortunately. And that just didn't happen this morning. So I think we'll revisit this. We'll revisit this card at some point, definitely. Let's wrap things up. So, let me switch scenes here real quick. I think I'm gonna end the stream there. Go run and get some dinner. But no stream next week. I'm not going to be around for Saturday. I'm doing stuff, and we'll pick the stream up. We'll pick the streams up Saturday after. So that's going to be the 15th. Will be the next stream. So, oh, we've got some pontification here in the chat. Would a GeForce 4 MX440 beat a Radeon 9200 SE? That's a thought. I almost did that, honestly, for this video. I've got a 9200 SE PCI version right up there. But I figured it wasn't really close enough since it wasn't an AGB card. Charlotte says, quietly appreciating the thunkiness of Amber's spacebar. That is the Cherry G84. This is it uses the Cherry ML switches. It's a good keyboard. I like it. It's meant for like server rooms, but this one I keep around. Not just because it's fun and chunky, but also it includes an AT connector. Very important for older machines. Turns into PS2. I think Cherry still makes these, and I think you can get them in like USB nowadays, which would be kind of amazing. As for like a daily driver keyboard, it's really low profile. Like, it's really low profile, and the ML switches are very short travel, but they're not the nicest to use. MX switches are definitely nicer, but I like it because it doesn't take up a lot of space, and it's got the AT connector on it. It's very nice. It's very nice. So anyway, yeah, no stream next week. We'll be streaming next on the 15th. Yeah, I was barking up the right tree, I think, trying to think about the 9200 SE versus the GeForce 4 MX 440. I think for this one, I probably should have just kept it with my GeForce 2 MX. I think that would have been it still would have wiped the floor with the G550, but I think it would have been a more interesting comparison. But I think that's it. Let's call that stream there, and I'm glad everybody came along and joined me for this. And I'll see you in 2 weeks. Have a wonderful time, and may the PC parts be ever in your favor. All right? Have a good night.